Has Alex Pereira's reign come to an end?
UFC 320, October 4th, Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira 2 for the light heavyweight title.
Alex Pereira needs to come back with a bang. He's done incredible things, he's made millions, but if you want to continue fighting, if he wants to be the champion again, we gotta see that fight.
When it comes to Pereira though, there is a question I would have, which is, did you all forget?
His power is so different. He's knocked out so many fucking champions.
What he has done is not like anything I've ever seen before.
He has thrown himself in the fire over and over again, moving up weight classes, fighting for titles. I still think largely it is Poetan's world.
He has to remind everyone that he is the best light heavyweight in the world.
He's got to win this fight, because if he doesn't, this might be the last time we see him fight in the UFC.
That man wants revenge.
With Alex vs Magomed Ankalaev set for the main event of UFC 320, a lot of fans are starting to wonder whether or not this could be the end of Alex Pereira. But before we get the video started, my name is JuicyMMA, I make opinionative MMA content, and if you guys are enjoying the content, be sure to hit that subscribe button, as only 10% of you watching are actually subscribed. And also, if you guys are enjoying the content and want to support the channel, be sure to hit that join button for members only live streams, videos, alongside with other perks as well. But anyways, let's get into it. When you look at the career of Alex Pereira, it's been nothing short of incredible. He's a double champ at middleweight as well as light heavyweight, and when you look at some of the guys he was able to beat over the years, it's a very impressive list. Beating guys like Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, Jan Blachowicz, Khalil Roundtree, Yuri Prochazka, and even Jamal Hill. And there is that criticism of Alex Pereira that he was somewhat fast-tracked to a title, which is more or less accurate, but at the end of the day, Alex did not only beat a very impressive list of names, but he also finished a lot of those fighters as well. But regardless of all the success Pereira has had at middleweight and now more recently at light heavyweight, after fighting and losing to Magomed Ankalaev and having his rematch coming up at UFC 320, a lot of fans are starting to think this could be the end of Alex Pereira. Not only losing to Magomed, but also potentially retiring. But before we get into Pereira potentially retiring, let's quickly take a look at this rematch between Alex and Magomed. So when you watch back the first fight between these two, on the scorecard, it was relatively close, but at the end of the day, when you're watching it live, or even if you watch it back, it always felt as if Magomed had control of the entire fight. As he was pressuring the entire fight, he was shooting in for a lot of takedowns, and he had a lot of control time. He even hurt Alex, and it just felt like it was a Magomed Ankalaev type performance in there. And based upon that, a lot of fans are expecting Magomed to once again beat Alex in the rematch. But I'm here to tell you things are going to look different and very different in the rematch between these two. As I touched upon before, in their first fight, Magomed did all of the pressure in there, and from there he had a lot of different weapons to go to, either shoot in and force his way into the clinch, throw a couple jabs and left hands, and potentially even counter some of the aggression of Alex Pereira while Alex was near the cage. But in this fight, I'm fully expecting Alex to be on the pressure and be on the gas for the majority of the fight. When you look at a lot of times when Pereira has success, he's always on the front foot. Of course, he is a very technical striker, and he has the ability to have success off his back foot, but for the most part, when you look at all of his finishes and when you look at where he's able to have success, he's on the front foot. So I do think in this fight, in this rematch against Magomed, he's going to be on the front foot for the majority of it. At that point, his calf kick will be more effective, his body jab will be more effective, his right hand over the top will be more effective, head kicks will be more effective, and all of that will be utilized to set up his beautiful left hook. And if he's able to land a clean left hook on Magomed Ankalaev, or anybody else for that matter, he's most likely going to be able to at the very least hurt you, but more likely find a finish with that particular shot. But the question at this point is, will that be enough? If Alex is on the front foot, yes, he could have more success against Magomed, but will that be enough to actually beat him? In my opinion, the answer is unfortunately no. I think for Magomed, if he's on the front foot, he can have a lot of success, go to a lot of weapons, and the fight would look very similarly to what it did in the first fight. But if Alex was on the pressure and if he was on the front foot, yes, he probably would have a good amount of success, yes, his calf kick will be more effective alongside with his other weapons, but at the end of the day, there's two factors that would give Magomed an advantage even if Alex was on the front foot. And those two factors are Magomed's speed alongside with his countering ability. When you talk about Magomed Ankalaev, he's always been known as a counter striker. And if Alex gets a little bit more aggressive in this rematch and he gets a little bit too reckless, which he has done in the past at times, there is a very real possibility that Magomed could find those openings and find those opportunities and land a big left counter of his own. And at that point, it becomes way more likely that Magomed Ankalaev will be able to find a finish. And also on top of that fact, the fact that he is so much faster than Alex is also going to be a huge advantage. In their first fight, the speed advantage of Magomed really made Alex Pereira gun shy in there, but even if Alex Pereira isn't gun shy in the rematch and he is throwing a lot, at the same time that could leave more openings for Magomed to find beautiful counter shots. So in my opinion, whether Alex is on the front foot or on the back foot, I still do think the advantage goes to Magomed Ankalaev. And of course, we didn't even mention the fact that Magomed also has a wrestling advantage in this rematch as well. Of course, Alex was able to stop all of the takedowns in their first fight, and I do believe a very similar thing could happen in the rematch, but just because Magomed has that additional potential weapon to go to, it does have to stay in the back of Alex's mind, and that could lead to some openings for Magomed to land big shots on the feet. So although I do think this will look like a very different fight, at the end of the day, I still am slightly leaning in the direction of Magomed Ankalaev to win this rematch. So a question that some of you may be wondering at this point is, if Alex Pereira does indeed lose the rematch against Magomed Ankalaev, will he retire? Well, in my opinion, although it's not guaranteed, I do think there's a good chance he does. Because when you look at Pereira, he's already accomplished so much. He fought so many different guys. He was able to become the double champ both at middleweight as well as light heavyweight. He was able to beat some legendary names alongside the way, and of course, not to mention all the success he had in Glory Kickboxing. And if for the first time in his UFC career he was going to go on a 2-fight loss streak, also considering he is 38 years of age, I do think there is a real chance he decides to retire. Now, I know there have been a lot of rumors both by Alex Pereira as well as a lot of MMA fans that Alex is indeed going to move up to the heavyweight division, but I think this decision for the most part is going to be based on the result of his fight versus Magomed Ankalaev. If he's able to beat Magomed, I do think there is a decent chance that we do see Alex Pereira at the heavyweight division, but if he does lose to Magomed Ankalaev, I think the likelihood of Alex moving up to the heavyweight division is significantly diminished, and I think there is a very real chance that if Magomed Ankalaev is able to beat Alex Pereira again in the rematch, UFC 320 may be the last time we ever see Alex Pereira fight, at least in the UFC. But regardless of the result at UFC 320, Pereira's career is already set in stone. He'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame in kickboxing as well as MMA. He was able to do amazing things in both sports, and especially in the UFC, what he was able to do in such a short amount of time is nothing short of incredible. And if Alex decides he wants to move up to the heavyweight division, regardless of his result at UFC 320, I don't think the UFC or MMA fans will have a problem with it. I think it's pretty clear that Alex over the years has certainly earned the right to do whatever he wants in the UFC. But if he ever did decide to move up to the heavyweight division, I unfortunately don't think he would have that much success against Tom Aspinall. I do think he could beat some other guys at the weight class and maybe even some highly ranked guys at the heavyweight division, but in terms of him fighting Tom Aspinall, I don't think it would go all that well, unfortunately for Alex. So I guess UFC 320 will determine a lot for Alex Pereira, but I will say there is a very real possibility that we do see the last of Alex at UFC 320. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think Alex Pereira is going to retire after UFC 320, or do you think he's going to be able to beat Magomed Ankalaev and move up to the heavyweight division? But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did enjoy it, check one of these two videos popping up now, and until the next time, peace out, guys.